Okay, so I really messed up on this battle, and I don't really know how. For some reason, even though I had the game sound turned off, it started recording the game sound, and that was kind of clashing a little bit with the background music, but it doesn't sound terrible. I think I accidentally created a new remix with KMX's Sea of Time remix and then the actual in-game noises. So I'm still uploading this one, despite it being like a weird audio error, because I think it's tolerable. It's kind of weird. Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to some more Fan Fridays. This time we have a battle from Moon with a really interesting team, actually bringing Chatot to doubles. Let's go and see how it does against a mono water from the opponent, Dreskar. Is that a Fan Friday, dude? I feel like that's a familiar name, and it's seeing the rain team is pretty cool right there. So let's watch the battle play out. So now we're going into the Chatot and the Swoobat. Swoobat wants to be fun. Swoobat can do a lot of really cool things with that simple ability, and Chatot actually receiving a nerf. Game Freak, you made Chatot cry when you nerfed Confusion, but what can you do about it? That's a skill swap. Simple Chatot. Nasty Plot? I was about to say, are we going to see Nasty Plot Focus Sash? Protect Tailwind is the only other thing I could imagine. Okay, so you have this on the Chatot, but how do you make it win? You know, there's no Scarf. That's going to be the Focus Sash being consumed right there. Toxic from Pelipper. Going to stop. I guess that Toxic is actually a really good idea. Just in case Swoobat starts going for the stats, you make sure it doesn't get those stats. Oh, Lumberry. I'm always a fan of Lumberry tech. I'm liking a lot of this, so the Helping Hand. Is Chatot really that fast? Doesn't it have like a fancy little bit of speed? So that's going to be the Boom Burst now, or Hyper Voice. It could have Boom Bursted, but I mean, when you +4 Nasty Plot like that, Hyper Voice is all that you need. So look at that, Rotom going down even in the split damage. And I guess the rest of this battle, we're just gonna watch it play out. Now, the Swampert is gonna wreck our day. Pelipper's gonna be withdrawn, Rain's still out, Morlord is going to come in, and that's going to just be a Quagsire. However, Swift Swim on the Mega Evolution. Now, actually, one thing I don't really know about right now is if the Swift Swim activates on the turn with the Mega Evolution because of the changes to how speed is calculated on Mega Evolution. I think it's just that speed, and then the turn order is still set, so Mega Evolution isn't going to really tweak anything. But anyway, that's the turn that you need. You find that Protect, you sneak in the Tailwind because you got this tanky Swoobat that's probably not going to die ever, and then the Helping Hand into the Hyper Voice. That's gotta clear the field. Wow. That has to be an Assault Vest. That is one of the tankiest things I have. No, it can't be Assault Vest because you're just using. What is that Quagsire? How does it survive a +4 Helping Hand boosted attack from the Chatot? That's insane. So now we're going into Pelipper. Pelipper's gone. That's a KO right there. And the skill swap. Oh. Right, I forgot about. Wait, Unaware, yeah. Never mind, I forgot about the Unaware. Okay. Everything is right in the world because it's not a +4 boosted, it's just a regular old move. That's why you can't sleep on the Quagsire, but then acknowledging this in the damage, reading that as the Unaware ability, and then skill swapping it under that Tailwind to remove anything that the opponent could have done. Somehow though, Pelipper now finding the survival, and then that's going to be a Protect just because as we get the sweep from the Chatot, or just, you know, trading Protects like that, because that happens. But then you go Protect into another Tailwind. But you don't even need to do that because you outspeed Pelipper because Pelipper's slow anyways. So that's going to be the battle. And the funny thing is, Chatot on Fan Fridays, I feel is like very cyclical. You know, just like how people are claiming Micron's cyclical, and now I'm out a lot of money because I bought in at $55, it went up to 60, I didn't sell, and then went down to 48. But you know, that's here, no, neither here or there. Either way, I feel like Chatot is cyclical in its own way because I do like 2 Chatot videos in a short amount of time because people are like, yo, you gotta see this Chatot. Boom Burst is insane damage. You can either thread in a nasty plot. I've also seen the Chatter, just, you know, Chatter RNG confusion sweeps. There's a few of those Fan Fridays that I feel like I've done too much Chatot. We've seen and explored everything there is about Chatot, so there's no reason to do another video on it. Then I forget about it, then people start asking for it, and then I see a couple battles, and Chatot comes in, and we realize that it is a strong little bro. So let's go on to the next battle. And we're back, so let's see what Michael is going to do. I was about to say, I don't imagine much, but at the same time, that is one of the stupidest, tankiest teams I have ever seen brought to Pokemon. A Carbink, a Steelix, a Toxapex, and a Ferrothorn. Now, true, can be exploited with like just proper matchups. You know, ground type's gonna wreck all that. We got steel, but then also fire. You know, actually it's a pretty balanced team in a way, but it also feels like it can be exploited. And then of course Mega Steelix, so the insane amounts of defense. Ferrothorn coming in as a tank later. How is Chatot going to be able to chip through this? However, this doesn't imply a lot of setup, which means that Chatot should be fine to do whatever it wants, and then get that free nasty plot crazy setup right there. I forgot to check Chatot's speed. I feel like it's actually like slightly higher than anyone would expect. So that's going to be the Ice Fang, but we got that full tank investment, or like, I guess it's like speed hit point invested on this Swoobat, and it's going to be just fine. Trick Room, that is very expected, but what else is going to happen? So the Helping Hand onto the Chatot. So it's just going to let this happen. All right. So we get this mad plus insanity stats into the Helping Hand, onto the Chatot. I guess you got to Focus Sash. So that's going to be the trade damage right there. Not going to be enough to take out the... oh, Heat Wave. Okay, that's perfect. That's going to be enough to take down the Steelix right there. Because yeah, I was like, even with the Hyper Voice, like Steelix doesn't have a high amount of special defense. I mean, it's going to be hard to get over no matter what you do. So Leftovers is shown on the Carbink. Taking a little bit of damage, survivable damage, as we take down yet another hacker. And then Sarina. So this is a really cool Trick Room team. Like, I love just the filth tankiness of this Trick Room team. Trying to rush the Venus Shock for super effective damage. Not going to be enough for that Toxapex. Stealth Rocks comes in. It's like, it's a yes and a no. It could work, especially if you have this big tanky team. You're trying to force switches and stuff. So that's actually a really interesting, just kind of like hit from the Sarina as the Hyper Voice comes in. Ooh, not going to be enough to take out the Carbink. Big damage on that Toxapex though. So Toxapex going to have to get creative on this next turn. Can't really do much about anything right here, honestly. All right. So protecting, just in case to read or protect, but we don't see that. Recover. That's what I mean. It's like, all right, Toxapex has to recover, but then, like, what does it do? It eats a Hyper Voice, then recovers next turn. The Moonblast will be protected, but I didn't think you needed to worry about protecting that Moonblast, as it's another Razor Leaf from the Sarina, and that's going to be enough to take down the Carbink. I'm wondering what the Razor Leaf is for. It doesn't do a lot of damage, does hit both opponents, which is nice. I guess it's just like chip damage on top of the Hyper Voice, in case there's a Focus Sash sitting there, in case you need that extra coverage against Rock-type Pokemon. But also Sarina has Helping Hand. So that's going to be... Oh, that's actually a way to catch people off guard. So another Venus Shock is going to go for the Sarina. Super effective hit as we see a Leech Seed onto the Chatot. The tankiness... You know, it's tanky, but it's not tanky enough. And it's a Heat Wave. So Heat Wave making sure that Ferrothorn goes down. I don't even think that Helping Hand was necessary then. Just slight more damage onto the Toxapex. Now Toxapex, yeah, this game's done. Like, Toxapex can't really fight this one out. Twist Dimensions return normal. And then that is going to be single target damage. I think a Recover, not even Recover, would allow it to survive. You know, it gets the health, and then Helping Hand single target pretty much turns it into a one-hit KO. And that is going to be the takedown right there. So I like the idea behind the opponent's team, but I think it needs to acknowledge that there was more of a threat to the Chatot. You know, Ice Fanging the Swoobat after you see that skill swap, not a good play right there. There was no Power Gem on the Carbink either. It's not running the Dual Stab, just like Stealth Rocks and stuff like that. Gardevoir still could have come in and done things, and then you can't stop that Heat Wave. So yeah, Fire is the weakness of that team. You think you might cover for it with the Toxapex, but when Ferrothorn goes down, that falls apart real quick. Especially if you start one-shot. Like, these Pokemon aren't supposed to get one-shot, and Chatot was one-shotting them, so everything fell apart. And since it's been a while, let's go and check up on our little buddy Chatot stat-wise, and generally what it wants to be up to. So yeah, 91 speed. I was thinking that it does have a weird speed. I thought it was 101, like it creeps into like that 100 range, but 91, still decent, especially after Pokemon Sun and Moon. So getting nerfed on these, just the raw confusion chance on Chatter. But if you're not running Chatter, if you're running Boom Burst or some other power up, you're going to be pretty good right there. So not the worst thing to happen. I'm wondering also if Gardevoir comes in with Telepathy. That way Chatot has the opportunity to use Boom Burst and go for absurd amounts of damage like that. So the 92 special attack is good, could be better, but I mean, if it's any better, then Boom Burst does way too much damage. Chatot hasn't received a buff. Like, that's another surprising thing. You know, I think the last time Chatot was featured, maybe it was Sun and Moon, but if it was before then, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, still very powerful, still a really strong Pokemon. No buffs, nothing. No tweaks, no help in the 7th generation, but still running just a little fine. And that Chatter really makes things kind of interesting because of like all the changes, you know. And Chatter is just a good move in general. It will now always confuse the target. I'm trying to figure out, you know, how to feel about that one. So yeah, it always confuses the target with that 30% nerf, really stripping some power from that, and then 60-65. So getting a slight little bit of a damage buff, 9% damage buff, not bad. Anything helps on the Chatot. So I mean, Nasty Plot Chatter is big damage, and if they hit themselves in confusion, that's KO levels of damage right there. So it does work out, and I'd like to see some kind of upgrade to it. I'd like to see something else happen, but we have seen the shenanigans fall in place before. So yeah, that's it on the Chatot. Hope you guys enjoy the battles, and I'll see you in the next Fan Fridays.